Alright, so boom. Yeah. Who's the new big three? It's Blaine, Bravo Blaine, and Bravo Picasso. It's all me, baby. Yeah. Shit is crazy, man. I was watching Bag Fuel earlier today, or yesterday rather. And Esso and Heineken was talking about who's the new big three. And, you know, they was having some trouble naming some folks that's, you know, some prominent people in New York to at least be a running contestant or contender. Look, you know, it's like, we know in this business, it's more than the music, right? We know that. You know, you got to get your business right. You got to be at certain venues, certain shows, link with certain people. You know, the whole thing. And a lot of artists, including myself, like, that's probably not our speed. And so, you know, guys like them will say, well, then that's why you won't be in the game, right? It don't matter how talented you are, the whole nine, like, you won't be in the game, right? See, I feel like people underestimate the potential, and oftentimes people fall in love with potential, and that ends up not going anywhere either, right? So it's either way, it's a gamble. You know, for me, the reason why I stated myself 3 times is not just the confidence, but it's also the actions in my work that I feel like could compete, right? When you mention the big three, what I look at amongst those three was not just that their business is intact or the labels that supported them, that's their backing. And so since they're in the game, now they can exercise putting out product and putting out whatever. And, you know, their skill sets and skill levels, you know, it's at such a high peak that when we had the clashings of the prominent 2 artists out of that 3, really wish Cole would have pulled up, but, you know, we're going to see what this album, The Fall Off, is hitting on. You know, I feel like you have to have the talent piece as well. And that's why you guys were, you know, I wouldn't say stumbling, but y'all didn't want to put Ice Spice in that conversation, because even though her business is legit, meaning, you know, she signed up and, you know, she's in the game, she's in the industry, you know, she got the look, she got the viral sensation. It also came down to, does she have a pen? Can she engage in that type of combat? Can we see her in that realm of selling massive amount of units? You know, like, you couldn't put her in that conversation no matter how popular she is, which means that it tells me it boils down ultimately to the pen, the music, the craft. Once you have your business and all of that shit established, right? And so, because you're not going to say the people that are in the industry right now that have their business established, you're not going to, you know, put them up against the old big three if their skill set is nowhere near the prominent 3. You wouldn't do that, because you know better. Y'all know better, which means that it ultimately comes down to someone that, you know, has their business straight, and someone that can at the same time find a way to have commercial success, right? You know, like, I'm a fan of you know, conscious music, hip hop music, messages in the music and stuff like that. And I also know that there's a time and place to shop feel good, have a good time, etc. And for a lot of those folk that create the potent conscious level of music, you know, certain things like beat choice, subject matter, even vocal style of just the voice, is it attractive to listen to? Does it complement the beats you're on? You know, let's say there's a conscious rapper or artist out there that has all of that in the bag of chips. It then boils down to, well, where's the capital for that? Where's the funding? Where's the budget? Can they put that record on radio? Can they, you know what I'm saying? Like, can they get people to give a fuck in this new climate and era of content creators? And you know what I'm saying? Because it already feels like music took a backseat anyway. You know what I'm saying? It already feels like that. So it's like when you question the next big three, does that new does those new three artists have to have more than just, you know, great raps and great songs and great battles and great beats and great radio play? Do they have to have more than that? Do they have to be in movies now? Do they have to stream every day to be consistent and in your face now? There's going to be new demands for the next three, right? To make it at least interesting. Because see, where we're at right now, we're clamoring and wrestling over the three that we have right now. They're all in their late 30s, approaching 40. And, you know, there's cats like Jay, Eminem, people that are up there in age that still produce classics. And so, you know, we know that they can make music, but is the drive going to be the same? You know, is the era going to be the same in the sense of caring for what they have to say? Do they feel like, damn, like I don't want to dilute my brand. I don't want to water my brand by just always putting some shit out just for the sake of putting it out, running up the numbers. Y'all give that critique to Drake, but Drake found a way to maintain throughout the era and eras of time. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody can figure out a longevity game plan where they keep a couple of anthems in the tuck and they give you a couple of messages, then they give you the commercial shit, then they experiment with new sounds, new shit. Usually when artists find something else to hop on, whether it's a different style or whatever, y'all criticize them at first, but then when socially it becomes acceptable, everyone forgets conveniently and they're out in the club playing that song. So, you know, the big three, I feel like it would definitely demand more in the future. What that more is, I think people are already doing it now. I think that now more than ever, like even me, you know, like I'm trying to stream more. I'm trying to be more visible. I'm trying to be because you know I'm more to myself anyway. I'm more closed off. I don't really do the social media shit. I was doing that shit way before. I'm seeing everybody create think pieces and waves, and you know everybody is now on the train of, yo, I deleted my Instagram, my Facebook, or you know I'm taking a break. Man, I've been doing that for a decade plus. Like, if only y'all knew, because I just felt like I didn't like people watching my moves anyway. Especially Facebook, when you got a local demo following you, and then you got, you know, just everybody else trying to, you know what I mean? Like I just felt like I had to control it, because the way how people would, you know, think that I got it just based off how I take care of myself and my brand, it's a misconception. I'm not saying that I'm faking it for any means necessary. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is I got it for me, not for you. You feel me? Know the difference. Just because my logos is popping, I'm always consistent on dropping songs y'all ignore or whatever it is, but you can't deny the sound quality, the art quality. You know, a lot of people feel like I was already signed just based off how I was carrying myself. And so when they see you out in public, they think asking you for money is the way, or you could afford the loss. No, that's not how it works. Like, I grind like everybody else. I 9 to 5 it like everybody else, or I figure out ways of trade like actual entrepreneurs. You know, I sell a service, you know what I'm saying? And I put the bread where I feel like it matters the most for me to excel. And when I look at that budget, I don't see anybody's name in that. You know what I mean? Then I got to also divvy up the bread I make for the people that I take care of and the responsibilities that's on my name. So that's what I mean about the misconception. It's like, damn, like he always get a haircut every 2 weeks. He always fresh. He always crispy every time he take photos, every time he in the video. But it's just like, it's the maintenance of me. It's not really to really flex on y'all. I just take care of me because I love me. I respect me. And so I think respectfully, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to get there one day. You know, one day I feel like I could be in that conversation of the big three and, you know, say it's just big me or, you know, but even then, right, what I've learned from this previous battle that Drake and Kendrick went through, it was very eye-opening. I'm not trusting none of you niggas. I'm not trusting none of you niggas. Like, let me tell you, like, the way how I seen this shit play out, and the way how Cole did what he did to kind of gracefully back out, man. And see, that's the thing too. You know what I would rather do at this point, now that we have the hindsight and we got the information now? If, say for example, I'm in the big three, everyone's like, yo, Blaine is like, he's on fire, like, yo, like, he survived eras, like, dropping projects, like, it's like he just can't miss, like, you know what I'm saying? And then it's some guy that, you know, is around the same age, same talent, same kind of level of business, you know, and it's like, you know, the fans of him and the fans of mine is trying to egg us on to clash. I'm telling y'all right now, y'all will never see it happen. And you know why? Because I don't give a fuck about peer pressure. Nobody can peer pressure me to do anything I don't want to. If I want to bomb on that nigga, if I want to bomb on somebody, I bomb on somebody. Straight up. We don't need the audience. We was doing this shit in the shadows on some vigilante shit. You understand? So at that point, motherfuckers might feel away like, damn, like shit just boring because, you know, they at the spot. They all three up there. The new three is up there, but nobody trying to clash at anybody. And it's like, well, you know what? You know, it's a business and it's not me ducking fades or whatever. I think what I've realized is that when you get that so high up like that on some Drake shit, you know, me personally, I even though the artist in me, because I've already dissed these guys too, so it's actually like it's kind of too late, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, before I get introduced to the world, right, and I take that spot, because I'm gonna take that spot, right? It's like, what I've learned from what happened, man, I'm gonna just keep putting out good music, keep connecting with my fans, travel all over the globe, you know, and if somebody's hating on me and they at that level to hate on me, you know what I'm saying? I could think about it, but it's never gonna be on some pressure shit to do it just because they did it first and they got the people talking. Like, we not doing that. You know what I mean? Shit gotta be honorable for me. Shit gotta be worthy. I feel like for Drake for a long time, like, they was trading shots at each other, you know, since the BET cypher and shit like that. So we already know shit was gonna come to a head. But, you know, I just felt like personally, if I was Drake, I would have bombed on that nigga with an album first. You know what I'm saying? I would have bombed on that nigga with mad hits first. Like the moment he dropped Not Like Us, I would have dropped Nokia and dissed him in that. I would have put his name in that shit. You know, it might not have, even, and the reason why I say Nokia is because that was like kind of like everyone saying the remake of the Hotline Bling. And I remember when Hotline Bling came out, and I think it was around the time when he battled Push, and, you know, it was saying like, oh, that like he was saying like, yo, like once he talked about 40 and other things, it just went too far. But, you know, you got to understand, like, you know, now that we know that there is no such thing as too far, like, you know, anybody that really don't like you and want to be the biggest hater, they'll just call you a pedophile. They'll just call you a pedo. You a PDF. I win. You know what I'm saying? So now that we got the stats and the data of that, you know what I'm saying? Now that we know where people are willing to take it because they don't want to lose and get beat the fuck up. Now that we know that part, you know what I'm saying? The best thing to do is just keep connecting with your audience. Keep putting out great music material, probably pivot in other lanes. And, you know, I mean, if you really want to battle, you know what I'm saying? Maybe something someday could be like, it could be like a league. Or maybe I could create a league where we could then clash that way. You know what I'm saying? Just make it just entertaining and fun rather than like, you know, bodyguards got to get shot at, and, you know what I mean? People got to watch what turf they on. I don't know. It gets messy when everybody's just trying to like see who can lyrically go there. Like, that's what we wanted to see. And I felt like what I realized is that the genre is just not mature enough to keep it there, because the world's not mature enough to keep it there. I saw the world, you know, chanting the PDF line at the Super Bowl. That was the world, right? That was the world watching. The world, they just couldn't wait. So it's like, yo, like if that's what it is, if that's the world, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's all about what you do after that. Look, Drizzy, it's a lot to be in that man's shoes. That's all I gotta say. You know what I'm saying? Just learning how niggas is gonna come at you when you at the top someday. You know, he took the arrows. He took the arrows. I don't give a fuck what y'all gonna say in the comment section about, oh, you could tell you're a fan and all of that. I'm a fan of music first, you know, and I respect all three of them. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate their contributions to the game. You know what I mean? If you're a real diehard fan of music, hip hop, and all of that, I'd expect you to feel the same way. So I'm just talking from a place of hindsight after we got the facts now. No one's talking about that record, Not Like Us. You know what I'm saying? No one's playing that shit at random. Like, you know what I mean? It's different now. It's different now. We're at the point where it's different now. Like, we could admit that. Maybe if you live in Cali, you're going to hear it more often. Me, I'm in New York. I'm in upstate as well, but I'm still connected to the city as well because I got family. I also got family in Atlanta. So, you know, I just know the pulse of certain things on my coast, on my side, right? So, yeah, with the big three, man, I think, you know, at the end of the day, people want to disregard your talent. People want to disregard your song-making ability, not rapping punchline for punchline, even though that's fun too. And even with no structure, depending on how mature and seasoned you are, even a no structured song where the hook don't come back every 3 times, whatever, that can also still be a classic. That can also still be a hit because you made the words hit. You know what I'm saying? Like a Millie. That's prime example. So, you know, with the big three shit, it's interesting to see who takes that mantle. If the requirement for everyone, because last time I checked, it was only Drake out of the three that we know battled people, whether he won or lost. We knew he battled and he dropped hits and albums, and so we know he's there. At least he shows up. As far as Cole, he tried to pick on people that was not at his skill level to tell them something, make music out of that, and so that's not really a battle. That's just content for the music. So y'all hold him in the regard for a third party candidate, right? And then Kendrick, he didn't really battle anybody up until Drake. And, you know, the world gave it to Kendrick that he beat Drake. So if he's the prominent guy in the three, but he was already in the 3 before. Like, he didn't have to earn the spot to be the 3 because he was missing the battle part. You know what I'm saying? He was already there. They were already there. Drake, without the battles and the beefs and back and forth with Common or whoever, he was already there because his consistency and his output, you know, you couldn't match it. So it's just safe to say that battling wasn't really a requirement, but it looked sexy on the jacket. We can all agree to that. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Godspeed to everyone, you know, making music and trying to figure it out. Life is a journey anyway, so have fun. We don't know how much time we have, you know, and not to sound morbid, but really, that's just where my mind's been at these days. Like, you know, it's a lot that come with, you know, being at a certain position like that where everybody want to see you lose or everybody is rooting for you to win. And it's just, I could see where the pressure comes in, right? You know, because for me, on an average civilian level, you know, going to school or, you know, street politics, whatever, on a civilian level, that peer pressure shit never really worked on me like that. Like, I didn't give a fuck to fit in and shit like that. I make my own lane and, you know, attract the people that's meant for me. So I could only imagine, though, when I'm winning awards and impacting people's lives and, you know, I'm more seen and visible, that energy bestowed onto me, that might feel different. I'm at this point, I'm just asking God to give me the strength, you know what I'm saying, to still hold the same conviction when I'm at the top. So that's my take, you know, on the next big 3, you know. Godspeed, see if we can get there, you know what I'm saying. Till next time. To my ex, she saw me with my candy cane. I know shorty wasn't shy, thought shit was sweet, no sugar cane.